Let me quickly talk to you about Credit Rent Boost. In today's conversation, I want to do an in-depth review of Credit Rent Boost. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Story Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you were to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk about Credit Rent Boost. Okay, here is a service that allows you to boost your credit score by reporting your rent, and this can be your past history or your current rent history or even your future rent history. And one thing we want to say here is that when you think about Credit Rent Boost, you're thinking about a company that's that's called a 950 Credit LLC, and they do business as creditrentboost.com, and they basically work directly with tenants and landlords to report the tenants' monthly rent payments to TransUnion and Equifax to boost credit scores. Okay, so as of the date of this show, Credit Rent Boost only reports to TransUnion and Equifax, not Experian. It's very important to understand. And one thing, and so what they do is that they will help you report your data. Okay, so they are making the process very easy. And actually, you can even report not only your transactional rent history, but also that of your roommates and spouses. So this is really good. They do have a bundle pricing tier that you can actually pay for, and so this is really good. And they are also able to establish credit for your past 2 years, so they can go all the way to 2 years of rental payments and report the last 24 months of your rental history to your credit report. So this is really good. Okay, and one thing I want to say here is that Credit Rent Boost is legit. They are a legitimate business. They've been around for a while now. Okay, they're based in Arizona, and they've been in business for 5 years now. So, and if you go online, they have excellent credit. They have excellent reviews, rather, okay? And they've been featured on big name networks. I'm talking about CNN, CBS News, Fox News, and others, okay? So this is really good. And we'll love the fact that they do have 3 service tiers. So I will speak about that later on, but you can choose to do ongoing rent reporting. You can do past rent reporting or past and ongoing reporting. So you have the bundle here, okay? And what we love here is that they do have a 100% money back guarantee. So if your landlord will not cooperate, because what will happen here is that Credit Rent Boost will contact your landlord. And if your landlord will not cooperate, then they will refund your money. Not a problem with that. And one thing you need to understand is they also have an expedited service option. If let's say you want to boost your credit faster and you're looking to apply for a loan, for a car loan or a mortgage, whatever, they can actually work with you if you're looking for something expedited, okay? And one thing you need to understand is that Credit Rent Boost reports to TransUnion and Equifax twice a month. So the 5th and the 15th. So you'll see your score increase faster. And they are one of the very few in the business that does that. So this is really good. Let me talk to you now about the process. So when we talk about Credit Rent Boost, what is the process in place? So one thing you need to understand, they are strictly a rent reporting service. Now, as of the date of this show, they do report your rent. And so they work with you and your landlord to get your past rent payment history and ongoing rent payments reported to the 2 credit bureaus I mentioned. So it is quintessential that your landlord cooperate, because without collaboration from your landlord, how are they able to prove that you actually pay rent? So this is important. And rent payments, utility payments, etc., usually do not appear on your credit report unless you have a late payment and the rent or utility bills have been sent to collections, right? So this is what we call negative consequences. And Credit Rent Boost is trying to establish a pattern of positive consequences, of positive behavior, okay? And Credit Rent Boost allows you to have your rent bill payments added to your credit report. And the way they do this is that they actually work really, really, really fast. And one thing you need to understand is that you will start seeing results in as little as 30 days, because they actually report twice a month to TransUnion and Equifax. You can see results faster. And what we love here is that they will work with your landlord to verify how long you have been at the address, what is the amount of rent you pay every month. If you have had let's say missed payments, They just want to have a whole idea of your payment history, and they work directly with the landlord. And in some cases, they will actually get back to you if they have other questions. But yes, so once they verify that, they will add a trade line to your credit report. So a trade line is kind of similar to other credit accounts, student loans, credit cards, personal loans. Okay, so if you have say bad credit, no credit, or a thin credit profile, then adding this positive payment history to your credit report can give you a boost to the length of credit history and the amounts owed. Okay, so this is really good. When you think about a credit score, you have 5 portions, right? You have payment history, you have your credit mix, you have your CUR, your credit utilization ratio, you have new credit. So if you're able to add a little bit of credit history to your credit score, this will boost it by say 50 points or 100 points. So this is really good. Okay, so as long as you are making payments on time, your score will improve if you work with Credit Rent Boost. I want to talk to you now about the pros and cons. Okay, actually, let's first start with the advantages. So one thing you need to understand is that there are many rent reporting services, but Credit Rent Boost excels in certain areas, despite the fact that they have not been in business for that long. They've been around for 5 years now. Okay, so in our view, there are 2 key advantages, that 2 key benefits that you get from Credit Rent Boost. Number one, you have low fees, and we have looked at this across the industry. And Credit Rent Boost has low fees. They offer one of the lowest price plans on the market. Not only that, you can customize your subscription to get just what you need. Okay, so the cost of ongoing rent reporting is around $6 a month. Plus, they offer a discount if you choose to pay annually instead of monthly. So this is really good. And if there are multiple renters on your lease, by the way, I'll speak about the pricing later on, but I just want to give you an idea of their pros and cons here. If there are multiple renters on your lease, Credit Rent Boost offers a multi-renter discount that works on up to 3 names on the lease. This is really good, okay? So let me give you an example. If all your roommates want to use the service to build their credit, then each of you gets to pay a fraction of the price you would pay individually. So this is really good. And so for reporting past payment history, Credit Rent Boost gives you 2 options, 1 year or 2 years. So this is, if you really think about it, this is a great feature if you have only recently started renting and don't have 2 years worth of rental payment history, okay? And if you have moved around in the past, no worries, because the service allows you to add up to 2 previous addresses to your account at no charge. Really good. So this is the first part. The first major advantage is the low fees. The second one is that you have multi-renter plans, okay? So for us, this is really cool because not everybody has their own studio or 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom. If you're renting a property along with roommates or a spouse, then there is great news. And the service will let you add up to 3 renters to 1 rent reporting account for a discounted fee. And we love the fact that multi-renter discounts also apply to the one-time sign-up fees. So this is really good. And since Credit Rent Boost already needs to contact your landlord to verify your payment history, it takes very little extra effort to verify history for your roommates as well, because obviously you guys live at the same place. So it's important to know that to qualify, all renters must be on the lease. They must be on the lease. This is an important. This cannot be 2 separate leases or 3 separate leases. It must be on the same lease. If you or your roommates are subleasing, you will need written permission from the landlord or property manager to qualify for the rent reporting service, and they take that very seriously. Let me talk to you about the cons, the drawbacks here, okay? There are many pros. I've said that. You save a lot of money, that's really good. But there are a few areas, in our view, where Credit Rent Boost could improve things, okay? And they don't match up to their competitors, or they serve their customers best, and they need to improve that. So there is no credit monitoring. This is really important because Credit Rent Boost claims that their customers can often experience a credit score increase from 30 to 100 points, but you're completely on your own in verifying their claims. Okay, there's no credit monitoring here. So Credit Rent Boost does not offer anything in the way of credit monitoring. Instead, they suggest that you use a third-party service like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. We believe this is an area where Credit Rent Boost might want to grow in the future by offering this service, because this will add credibility. This will lend credibility to their service and to their claim of helping you improve your credit score. Okay, and so if you are using a third-party service, this could be problematic. Why? This can cause issues if you don't see your rent payments reporting. Credit Rent Boost troubleshooting tips suggest that you contact the credit monitoring company to see how often they refresh information and to verify that they are pulling from Equifax and or TransUnion. Okay, so alternatively, you can pull your own credit report from each bureau once a year for free by using a service called annualcreditreport.com. But this is not really, unfortunately, this free report does not include a credit score. So, in our view, this lack of credit monitoring is disappointing, as many of our Credit Rent Boost competitors offer some kind of credit score reporting. So you really want to think about that. So Credit Rent Boost, please, you want to fix that. And we also have seen that they do have a poor refund policy. So if Credit Rent Boost cannot complete verification with your landlord, either because your landlord isn't cooperative or because they don't meet the credit bureau's stringent reporting requirements, this service will give you a full refund. At least that's what they say. And this is the only scenario when they will issue a refund. So if you're not happy with the service and or are disappointed with the lack of improvement to your credit score, tough luck, because you're out of the money you paid. The best you can do is cancel your subscription if you are paying monthly. Okay, and furthermore, one thing we have seen is that the refund they offer can be voided under certain circumstances. Like most credit reporting companies, if they suspect fraud, they can deny you a refund. Okay, so this is really something, and this is not only this is not the only scenario. And if you opt to purchase Credit Rent Boost expedited service, which will set you back an extra $100, you will void your right to a refund. So those are things you need to pay attention to. Okay, so after your subscription fee, sign-up fee, and expedited fee, if your landlord decides not to cooperate, you are out of luck, as well as several $100s in fees paid. So this is something you need to pay attention to, very, very importantly. So let's talk about the impact, because this is something that you need to think about. How Credit Rent Boost is different. The thing here is that they will verify your rental information with your landlord. That's what they do first. And then they claim to report your payment information to the credit bureaus in much the same way as other rent reporting services do. Okay, but there are a few features in our view that actually set Credit Rent Report apart from the competition. So one thing I already said it, they have discounts for multiple renters. They have low fees, okay, and they support up to 3 renters on a lease. So this is really good. And if you have most of their competition only support 2 renters, 2 tenants, okay. Credit Rent Boost, they do have an incredible A+ rating on the BBB, showing that the package they offer is kind of welcomed by the public. This is really good. And in terms of helping your score, this is important. Now, one thing you need to understand is that they claim that you can see an increase of 100 points within 6 months, within 3 to 6 months. And it's important to understand that this is only shown in your TransUnion and Equifax reports, because they don't report to Experian. Something you need to think about. And if you want to see real results, you want to use this service if you already have poor credit. Let's say you already have 450 or 500, then you will see real results. But if you are already around 650, let's say you are around 650 and you're trying to use this service, we would say that based on our analysis, it's just a lot better to use to find other ways to beef up your credit score. Okay, so this is kind of cool. If you go from 350, or if you go from 300 to 550 or 600 in FICO scores. Okay, and one thing you also need to understand is that, remember that they offer the option to report up to 2 years of past history, but remember that it's all about providing the right data and making sure that your landlord is cooperative. It's important because they are the one to supply and verify the information to Credit Rent Boost. Okay, and if we are looking for just ongoing rent payment reporting, no past payment history, your credit score will increase by a small amount, around 5 points, each month you maintain the subscription. So it's all about you actually, if you're willing to pay for the service, you're basically willing to pay for 5 points a month in FICO. So when we annualize this, we're looking at 60 points. Okay, you might be thinking, well, this is not a lot, or you might be thinking this is a lot. But again, you want to use this service in conjunction with other financial responsibility services. In other words, you want to pay attention to your payment history. You want to pay all your bills on time and all that kind of stuff. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. We also have an in-depth review of Credit Rent Boost, and I want to talk to you about pricing. And so they offer multiple levels of plans at different price points. You can choose whether you want ongoing rent reporting and or past payment history reporting, as well as how many renters you would add to the account. Okay, so I want you to look right now on the screen. So if you choose the ongoing rent reporting, this is the price for one renter, for two renters, for three renters. Okay, and you do have an expedited service where you have to pay $100. Okay, and you can have your new account reported to TransUnion and Equifax within 3 business days of receiving all documents and rent verification. So they will need from you and your landlord your photo ID, your lease. Okay, the lease is not required, but it speeds things up a lot. And if you rent from an individual owner, they need their photo ID, or they can answer 5 quick identity verification questions over the phone. Okay, so and then they will reach out to them to verify your rent payments. And if you rent from a management company or apartment complex, they just need them to verify your rent payments. So besides ongoing rent reporting, you have past rent reporting, and this is for one renter, two renters, and three renters. And here the service is actually promising you to see an average score increase of 20 to 60 points, results in less than 2 weeks, and up to 2 years of history. Also, they have a fast service of $100 that will cost you $100. And if you choose the combo, if you choose the past and ongoing reporting, here is the price for one renter, two renters, and three renters. And here they promise you to see an average score increase of 30 to 100 points, and results in less than 2 weeks, and up to the last 2 years of history. And if you are really, if you are in a rush, you can use the expedited service that will cost you $100. Okay, and again, here you will have your new accounts reported to TransUnion and Equifax. What I want to say here is that, so you need to see exactly what you want. You need to see whether you want to do the one renter thing, two renters, or three renters, if you have roommates, all that kind of stuff, and how fast you want to start seeing increases, improvements on your credit score. Okay, so this is important. Now, folks, let me talk to you about alternatives. So obviously, Credit Rent Boost is not in an oligopoly or monopoly that you have competitors here, okay? And one thing you need to understand is that there are many factors to consider when selecting the best rent reporting companies, okay? And so when we talk about Credit Rent Boost, they have other alternatives that you might want to consider. You have rent reporters, you have a level credit, you have a rent report team, you have Rock the Score, you have Isuzu Rent, and you have Boom. Now, some of those apps and platforms, we have reviewed them on other shows. And one thing I want to say here is that when you think about, if you want to have a simple fee structure, you want to think about rent reporters, okay? And so here is a player that says that their average customer sees a credit increase of 35 to 50 points within the first billing cycle, okay? And and they report to Equifax and TransUnion. And if you're looking for the best value, you want to consider level credit, okay? And level credit allows reporting of rent, utility, and cell service payments as all, I mean, they report all this as separate lines of credit. So you have a large, let's say you have a higher chance of seeing an increase real fast because they add more than one line of credit. And there's also no sign-up fee, so you can get started with minimal expense. If you have no rent history to report, this is an attractive option, okay? And they report to Equifax and TransUnion. And the third one I want to talk to you about is the rent report team. This is the one that has the best credit bureau coverage because they actually report to all three bureaus, not just two. So they report to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And the sign-up cost is $29.99, okay? And they say that clients can increase their credit scores by 25 to 50 points or more within 15 days. Think about that, 15 days, okay? And one thing I want to say here is that if you're interested in this topic, please, we have covered this on several shows. So if you're interested, go check out our catalog of shows. We have Rent Reporters Review. We have Boom Report, Rent Reporting Review. We have Rent Reporting Services compared and contrasted. We have Rent Reporters versus Boom Report versus Credit Rent Boost versus Level Credit. And we also have Build Your Credit Fast, 100 points in 60 days with rent reporting, the top 10 services. So those are actually videos where we talk at length about the topic, and you might find it interesting. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. So I was giving you an in-depth review of Credit Rent Boost, and one thing I want to say here is that one thing you need to take away from this is that they report to TransUnion and Equifax, and the length of credit history reported up to 2 years. Okay, there is a refund policy of 100% if they cannot complete the verification, and they have a discount for up to 3 renters. Additional addresses at no charge. Okay, and when we talk about the monthly fee, $595 or $45 annually, and the sign-up fee can go from $25 to $60, depending on the subscription plan. Thank you so much for your attention. In today's conversation, I gave you an overview of this player, the process, the pros, the cons, the impact to your credit score, the pricing, and alternative. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. God bless. Thank you.